early into the COVID-19 pandemic, Russia was criticized for its early vaccine rollout. But new data suggests its Sputnik V shots are 91.6% effective against symptomatic cases. Let's get the details now from the company that invested in the vaccine's development. Kirill Dmitriev, the CEO of the Russian Direct Investment Fund. He joins us now live from Moscow. Mr. Dmitriev, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Is Sputnik V finished with phase 3 trials, or are more trials still to be done?
Well, no vaccine in the world has finished with phase 3 trials. All of them are still ongoing on. Just vaccines are giving interim results. And based on the interim result of phase 3, which has been published in The Lancet, Sputnik V is one of the best vaccines in the world. There are only 3 vaccines with efficacy more than 90%. It's Sputnik, Moderna, and Pfizer. And we showed efficacy 91.6% against COVID and 100% efficacy against severe cases.
So, Mr. Dmitriev, in which countries were these clinical trials conducted to get this efficacy of 91.6%?
So this specific data mostly comes from Russia, but we also have had clinical trials in Belarus, United Arab Emirates, India, Venezuela, and by now already 19 countries registered Sputnik V. And actually this week, 12 countries are starting vaccination with Sputnik V. And for 10 of those countries, this is the first COVID vaccine that has been received. So the results are stellar. And again, we are modest, but also honest. Sputnik V is clearly the best vaccine in the world, because not only does it have efficacy more than 90%, but it can also be stored at +2, +8 degree temperature, which is easy for logistics, and it costs half or 1/3 of what Americans' vaccine cost. So we really built the vaccine for humankind, and 19 countries already registered Sputnik V, and we will have, 7 more in the next week, we believe.
So if, Mr. Dmitriev, you say that Sputnik V is the best COVID-19 vaccine in the world, does it work against the new variants from the UK and South Africa? What is its efficacy?
Yes, so basically our scientists tested it against the new variants and confirmed that vaccine works. And the reason why it works very well is because we are very unique and we are using 2 different shots, unlike many others, because many others are using the same shot for 2 shots. We change it. And basically this change that we are doing makes our vaccine particularly good in fighting different mutations. And now we will also have clinical trial where we will give one of our shots to AstraZeneca vaccine to increase their efficacy. And we will see that if you combine different vaccines, they may be even better in fighting the mutations. But this combination is at the core of what Sputnik V has been designed with.
But what is its efficacy against the UK and the South African COVID variant? Do you already have a percentage?
Well, our scientists tested against these mutations and other mutations, and so far we see the same efficacy of Sputnik on this and other mutations. And this is because, again, of the technology which has been pioneered by Sputnik, which is using 2 different shots for, 2 different times. And this is not surprising that it has been accepted so much by countries, not only Latin America, Middle East, Europe, it's registered in Hungary, Africa. This is really one of the best vaccines. And we have also offered 2 vaccines with efficacy less than 90%, help them by giving them one of our shots. And we believe that combination will help them not only be more efficient, but also fight with new mutations better.
But Mr. Dmitriev, the Sputnik V still has its critics, because some clinical virologists are saying the Gamaleya efficacy analysis has limitations. It only includes symptomatic cases of COVID-19, and further research is needed to understand the efficacy of the vaccine on asymptomatic COVID-19 and transmission. Your reaction to this feedback?
Well, this is just not correct and not accurate. And if you look at the coverage of the Lancet article, it has been incredibly positive by all of the virologists of the world. And you just need to go to our Twitter, and recommend people to go to Twitter, sputnikvaccine.com, to get all of the real information. And you basically see that Sputnik is one of the most efficient vaccine in the world and is the best because unlike minus 70 degrees and unlike price that is double and triple the price for American vaccines, it's reasonable and affordable. So we've had criticism from August, from September, November, and all of this criticism has been proven to be fake and wrong by the Lancet article that showed we were right from day one and we were right with a good efficacy, and we have built the best vaccine in the world. So I'm sure there are lots of critics and people who are going to be competitive and trying to undermine, but to us it was really surprising and very positive that coverage in the US and Europe and Germany, everywhere in the world has been incredibly positive about the Lancet. And even, chairman of Temasek, which is the largest sovereign wealth fund, one of the most successful in the world, gave a brilliant review of Sputnik V and its technology. So critics will always be there, but we are one of the best vaccines in the world. We are sharing it with the world. And 19 countries that already registered Sputnik V definitely agree because it's saving lives. And despite of the politics, despite of the different critics who try to limit the success of our vaccine.
But Mr. Dmitriev, in the Philippines, in surveys, many Filipinos are prioritizing the AstraZeneca, the Pfizer, the Moderna, and the Janssen vaccines. Sputnik V is not even on their list. What do you say to Filipinos on why they should trust and be immunized with your vaccine to protect themselves against COVID-19?
Well, again, you are very wrong because we specifically did a survey with British firm YouGov that shows that Sputnik is one of the most recognized vaccine in Philippines. And it's very clear. For example, Janssen has 66% efficacy, as they say, and we have 91.6% efficacy. So for Filipinos, they need to decide, do they want to have vaccine with 60% efficacy or with vaccine more than 90% efficacy? And do they want to have a vaccine that costs less than $10 a shot or vaccines that cost like Moderna, $35 per shot. So we have great demand for our vaccines throughout the world. It gets vaccinated in Argentina, in Hungary, in United Arab Emirates. And of course, it's up to Filipino regulators to decide. But based on the survey we've done with YouGov, 75% of people in Philippines know about Sputnik V vaccine, and it's consistently among the top that people would like to get. And again, it's a British company, YouGov, that has done this polling for us.
Yeah, because most of the local government units here in the Philippines, Mr. Dmitriev, have ordered AstraZeneca and also Pfizer and Moderna. When I talk to a lot of mayors here in the Philippines, Sputnik V is not even on their list of orders.
Well, and maybe they should think about it because, first of all, we want all of the other vaccines to be successful. And I think this year is the year of scarcity of vaccines. So there's not going to be enough vaccine for anybody in the world. AstraZeneca and us, we are doing a joint clinical trial to help increase efficacy of AstraZeneca vaccine by using one of the Sputnik shots. I already mentioned that for Pfizer, Moderna, they're good vaccines, but some people have allergic reactions, and it requires minus 70 degrees centigrade for Pfizer. So we wish success, of course, to those vaccines, and I think they're great, and I think they can be part of the portfolio. But having Sputnik, which is more than 90% effective, affordable, and easy to distribute, just makes sense. But we are not forcing our vaccine on anybody. Frankly, even if we get approved in the Philippines right now, we will not be able to supply large quantities until May because we're already very much booked by other countries. And all we can do is just have people join our Twitter account, get direct, honest information about our vaccine, and then make their own determination. Everything is very transparent and clear there.
So, Mr. Dmitriev, what is your current deal right now with the national government? How many vaccines has the national government procured from Gamaleya Research Institute?
Well, we are still in the discussions, and President Duarte in the beginning said that he really appreciates the Russian vaccine, and he gave instructions for, different entities to work with us. So we gave them all of the information. We are still in process of discussions with them, and then they will make their own determination. So this has been happening right now. Again, one of the big advantages, unlike some of the other vaccines that say that they're not responsible for their own risk, and basically want Philippines government to sign a paper that says if something goes wrong, those companies are not responsible. Russia is not doing this. Russia is so confident in its vaccine that it basically is willing to share in some of the risk because it's built on the very safe human adenoviral platform that has been studied for decades and has been proven to be safe. So basically, we're in the process of discussion with Philippines government. We appreciate support of President Duarte and hope to conclude an agreement, hopefully in February, maybe in March.
You have applied basically for with the FDA for emergency use authorization, but the FDA said your group still needs to submit more documentation. Have you completed all this documentation with the Philippines FDA?
Well, we have, and again, the documentation we have been submitting is enough for approval in 19 countries, including Mexico. Mexico is a great neighbor of the U.S., definitely has access to some of the U.S. vaccines, but Mexican regulator, signed an agreement with RDIF to buy doses for 24 million doses because it recognizes that our vaccine is one of the best in the world. So this decision has been made by 19 countries that have received the same document that we sent to Philippines regulator. So we hope Philippines regulator, makes a decision. And of course, if there is anything else they would like to have, we can add to them. But we get, every country basically approves. Every day we have 1 or 2 countries that approve Sputnik V because they see the data and the data is brilliant.
Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. Kirill Dmitriev, the CEO of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, which invested in Sputnik V's development of the Gamaleya Research Institute.